Well, I'll be damned. I really didn't expect much from episode 4 of Suicide Squad Isekai, but after watching it, I have to say I was definitely pleasantly surprised. My biggest criticism in my previous video going over episode 1 to 3 was the complete and utter lack of world building and immersion into this isekai world. But in episode 4, hey, they actually spend a decent portion of time explaining the world, giving us some world building, giving us some backstory on this place, and getting us a bit more invested in what is going on. It's still far from perfect, but thank God they actually finally got to it. There were also multiple other points in this episode that I quite liked, which we will get into shortly. First of all though, yes, let's just dive into the world building, alright? Again, finally, super happy they actually spent any time at all talking about the world. We get to know why the war started. Well, not really why, but we get to know how long it's been going on. Clearly for decades. Just skirmishes really for the longest time, but when the other Suicide Squad came in and joined the enemy side, suddenly things took a turn for the worse, and the last 6 months have been just all-out war. Mainly because, for example, the Beastmen and Elves switched sides from the human side or the Kingdom's side to the Empire's side. Why? Not exactly sure. Well, for the Beastmen we know because of the Ratcatcher's magic and whatnot. For the Elves, don't know yet. We will get to that, I assume, later in the season. But again, they at least give us some information on what exactly is going on here, which is very welcome. Very, very welcome. We also get a good amount of backstory on the princess, which I really appreciated. They give us some flashbacks to her childhood, how she was playing with the commoners, the common folk, and how she basically developed her personality and her goals and dreams and motivations as to how she is now. It gives us a lot more reason and background as to why she is so motivated to end this war, right? Why she's so motivated to find peace, etc. Because she knows the suffering of the average person. She's been with them. She lost her childhood friend that died, maybe because of hunger, who knows? But that clearly impacted her. And also because of that experience she's had with the common people, so to speak, she does also definitely probably harbor a lot of guilt, and she feels a lot of privilege and probably a lot of self-loathing, which we'll get into later as well, as to why she gets to have all these things and gets to live a privileged, safe, healthy life, while all these other people are suffering. So very happy with how they portrayed her character so far, and just fleshing her out, right? Giving us a lot more info on why she is the way she is, and grounding her for us, the viewers. Hopefully we will get way more info on other characters and also keep fleshing out the Princess Fione moving forward. That would be very nice. We do also get a few glimpses of the contrast between the princess sort of wandering off, right, and being hurried back to the castle by her guard, and the queen just lambasting her, like being like, you're not a common person, you're, the future queen. You have a duty. What is your duty? To end the war. And again, just building on that for what she wants to achieve. Though I'm not really sure the queen at this point wants to end the war by any means necessary. She wants to win the war, but she doesn't look like the peacemaking type to me. It's all or nothing, I get the feeling of at this point. Next, though, I want to talk about Harley and Princess Fione and their sort of relationship or connection. I found that to be definitely the most interesting part of this episode. But before we get into that, if you're liking the video, getting any value out of it or entertainment, please remember to like and subscribe. It greatly helps out the channel, so thank you. Now, Harley and Princess Fione. I didn't really pick up on this before this episode, but in this episode we get a lot of nuggets, and it's also not really spelled out, right? It's a lot of just inference, and a lot of this is just me theorizing, but it is very much hinted at, I would say. But still, it's not set in stone, and it's not just explicitly stated, which is very much appreciated because, again, in any sort of narrative and story, the best thing is always to show and not tell, right? If you just show something, you don't need to tell us about it explicitly because we understand. We can make inferences based on what we see, right? And from the beginning of the episode, when Princess Fione goes to the prison cell to talk to the characters there, again, she glances at Harley. Harley notices it again and says, hey, why are you looking at me? You looked at me like this, in the throne room a few days ago as well. What's going on here? What, are you into me or what? And then we get a few comments of her seeming standoffish with the princess and her being questioned by the rest of the group. And why are you being so hostile to her, right? Well, what's up with you? And then she admits that, the princess ticks her off because she reminds her of someone she used to know or something akin to that, which to me is clearly a reference to herself in the past when she was a psychiatrist and whatnot in Gotham, right? Before she became the toy for the Joker, I guess. But she probably has a lot of hostile feelings and hatred for the princess because it just continually reminds her of how she used to be. This timid, sheltered, unsure, not confident woman. And when she sees that and those qualities in the princess, it just really ticks her off. And you can visually see that multiple times in the episode. Even later in the episode, when the princess is trying to say something in the war council, but she's super timid and super shy, right? Doesn't really get her point across at all. And Harley doesn't even say anything. You just get a quick pan of the camera to her lower face and her lips, and you just get a that's not how it sounds, is it? We get a sound, right? Clearly, again, showcasing the annoyance that Harley has for her. Because again, probably because of this connection she feels with how she used to be herself. And how much she despises that side of herself now, of how she used to be to how she is now. But then also on the flip side, you get the impression that, maybe Princess Fiona is sort of looking at or staring at Harley multiple times these first 4 episodes and seems to have interest in her. Maybe that's because she envies her. Maybe Princess Fiona envies Harley because she's so outspoken, so confident, so prone to just taking action, and not thinking about status or position or anything, just saying and doing whatever she wants to do. And maybe Fiona has a lot of feelings of, wow, I wish I could be that way. Or how can I be that way? And maybe she's trying to build up the courage to sort of talk to Harley and maybe get that ball rolling to become more like her, to take action. I do really like so far the duality of Harley and Fiona and this sort of relationship, quote unquote, they are setting up between them. I think that can be really, really interesting moving forward in the season if they keep exploring that and the writing stays as good as it is on this point. Because I have to say, the writing in this episode, it felt better than the first 3. I don't know, maybe it's just me not remembering the writing in the first 3, but this episode felt fresher in terms of the writing. Maybe just because of the character and world building, but alas. Another thing of note is that when Harley sort of criticizes the princess to the main commander, right? And he gets ticked off, of course. But when she says that, yeah, when the princess is just like a self-loathing, sort of dishonest, selfish person. And Harley has a point there in the sense that, well, yeah, the princess is sort of so timid, so shy, so unable to act or unwilling to act because of her personality or because of just how she is, that because of that inaction, people are probably starving, people are probably dying because she is unable or unwilling to speak up and just take action when it is needed. And that probably does mean that, yeah, the princess probably does have a lot of self-loathing for herself, knowing herself that, why am I like this? Why can't I do things like Harley can? Why can't I just take action? Why am I so shy? Why am I so timid? And again, that just speaks to this dynamic between the two that I really, really like so far, and that I really want to see much more of throughout season 1. It's such a massive contrast between these two characters, and I really want to follow along and see how they might slowly begin to consolidate a bit. Though, of course, I don't expect Harley to become more timid, but maybe seeing the princess sort of get closer to Harley and form a sort of relationship with her in a sense, or closeness to her that she learns from her and then becomes more of her own confident person along the way. Anyhow, though, very happy with these interactions between these two characters this episode, and I would really like to see where exactly it goes moving forward, but so far, very thumbs up for that one. Now to look over here my ending thoughts for the episode here. Again, this episode I thought was overall good. Overall, I mean, again, very happy with the world building, very happy with the Fione Harley character dynamic there. The writing felt better this episode. The dialogue felt more balanced. It wasn't super over the top with the sort of craziness of the main Suicide Squad cast. It still had, some humor, just King Shark being King Shark, eating whatnot, Harley with her comments and whatnot, but it felt more subdued. It didn't feel super front and center. It felt more balanced, which to me felt better, and just felt like the episode flowed better because of that. Ratcatcher, I guess, was eaten by his own troops, his own beastmen, after Deadshot, takes out the controlling crystal, whatever. I didn't really care about the character, and I still don't, but I assume he was just eaten and killed, so one antagonist down, I assume. But that is definitely, still the biggest issue for me is that many characters I still don't really care for, like Ratcatcher and any of the antagonists, or a lot of the world still feels very flaccid, still feels very dead or unalive so far. They definitely have a lot of work to keep doing to fix that for the end of the season, but at least episode 4 is a very good start towards that End. Now I have to say though, what in the world was up with that queen expression at the end? Like, what's going on with the queen? Hello? Like, that expression was something else. I mean, when I saw it, I was like, hello, what's going on? Is she thinking about how to massacre and execute all these beastmen for daring to be controlled and switching sides, or what? Like, what's going on here? I don't know, but I'm very interested to see what this whole thing with the queen is up with next episode, hopefully. Anyhow, though, what did you think of episode 4 of a Suicide Squad Isekai? Like it, hate it, leave all those comments down below, or anything else you might be thinking or wondering about. I read and respond to all of them, so, you know. That being said, I hope you have a nice day, keep watching anime, and I will see you in the next Suicide Squad video. So, bye-bye.